Hi everyone, I'm really happy to see you. So, after getting sick and after doing everything possible to save my eyesight, I'm finally back with you. And yes, now I'm wearing glasses because I need it for uh, like to be able to see everything. And my eyesight has deteriorated really much over the past year. But yeah, so now I'm wearing glasses all the time, and I hope you you like it. I hope they look nice on me. So today we will be doing a landscape, and our today's landscape is something that you can see on the picture. So this is what we will be creating today. And I want to say first that I will be experimenting much. So I will be doing a lot of experiments and lots of things to change this landscape because I want to see something changing and something. So we will be using the following materials. We're going to be using my watercolor set. This is something that I have combined for over uh, like 4 years of studying watercolors, and you can see that my paints are different. So there are some paints from Master's Touch, and there are some paints from White Knights, which is a Russian brand. And I bought it before the war started, so I wasn't supporting anything Russian. Of course, now I don't buy it, and I will not be using it after it finishes. I'm gonna just start using Van Gogh or Winsor and Newton. And here we have our watercolor set. We will be needing a pencil to start our drawing, and I offer you to use an HB pencil or an F pencil for your initial drawing. So I'm going to just close it and leave it, and that's my pencil. We might need to use a white marker, but we will see where it gets us. So we might, I'm saying we don't have to, but we might. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will be using an eraser like this. I have this kind of eraser. And so we'll be needing this brush. I think this one also. And what else? What else we might need? I think that maybe, guys, let's try to use this one, the small one. Also, we might need it for some small touches, and we will also be using this brush. So 4 brushes that I'm looking at right now. Let's leave everything behind. So let's not use others. We might go back to them while the process, but I don't think that it's necessary. So those are 4 brushes. Again, this one is number 2, so that's brush number 2. This one is brush number 20, and that's the fine touch. Also, I think it's the same brand as this paint. Then number 12, also fine touch. And this one also fine touch, but this is synthetics, so this is number 16. And of course we need water, so don't forget about water. And yeah, so I think that this is it for now. Let's just start creating our masterpiece. So this is the watercolor paper that I'm using, and this is Canson. So this is Canson 300 grams per square meter. And I'm also using a paper tape for watercolors. I suggest you use this because then your paper will not just be wavy, So yeah, let's begin. And here's our landscape. So this one is going to be our sky. So there's the horizon line in here. And so I might actually take off my glasses for now, because when I'm wearing them, everything kind of like changes perspective. So for the perspective time, I'm gonna just draw without them, and then I'm gonna put them back on. So okay, and there we have our trees. I mean, when I took them off, everything seems like so strange now. So there's a mountain coming up here. This is something green, so some plants. Then there's a mountain behind, and one more mountain coming up in here. Okay, and then we have some hills also. So we have, first of all, we have a road that comes from this house. So there's gonna be a house, right? And there is a house right here. So it's gonna be pretty, pretty small. So on the bigger scale, it's pretty small because we don't actually see that very clearly as it is far away from us. But at the same time there is a house, so we have to draw that. Okay, remember about perspective, we have already studied that, and in the perspective these lines are going to be parallel, and then there are these lines. There is a door, one more door, and one window, one more window. So again, when you are drawing something from a picture, you don't have to make everything precise, because that's your creativity. So you don't have to make everything as you kind of see it, because that's your artwork and you're the one to decide it. So be creative. Don't worry about don't worry about some small details which don't really impact the impression of the artwork, because ultimately what you're willing to create is you're willing to create an impression, a nice impression from your art. Okay, and there is one behind. Okay, so then we are going to make a road coming up from here, then it paves and changes in here. So I think it's going to be something like this. Okay, and so yeah, this is going to be our road. Again, it doesn't have to be precise when you draw this. And what has to be precise is a tree, because you can see it actually very, very clearly, right? Because that's on the front of the artwork. So you want to create some details of that tree, so that people who see it, they understand that this is something on the front. And then here's your tree. All right, and then there is a fence. So there is a fence from here, and it's actually so it's close to you, so you might want to do kind of like some more details on that. So it's a fence, and I'm not gonna draw like everything in here, so actually the interval between them is bigger, so my bad. Okay, so I'm just kind of marking it for myself. I'm not gonna be drawing it maybe like in the same way or something like that. So, and then it's important for me to mark trees which are on the front. So there are some trees, bushes, and this is just for me to see it. Again, this doesn't have to be the same as you're drawing it. It can be completely different. There are trees also here. And then there is a tree in here which you have to draw in more detail. Again, because this is a tree that's on the very front. So yeah, there have to be more details, obviously. All right. And one part in here. Okay, so I'm just marking it, and this is basically I'm almost done with marking, and then there's one more fence, which we don't actually see very clearly. There is one more tree in here. And one more tree in here. And note that those are pretty short trees. They are short, but they have lots of leaves. And yeah, this is the end of my marking. So I've marked my landscape. There are going to be some clouds, but I'm not going to mark them. And then I'm finally able to put my glasses back on. So, okay, now I can see clearly. I'm sorry, I'm just like not really adjusted to my glasses for now, and it's pretty hard for me to, to be trying to do something with them, because everything is very, everything changes very quickly when I'm wearing them. Okay, and the reason why we needed this brush is because we want to make our colors wet. So that's what I'm doing right now. Let's make them wet. Because they have to be quite wet before we start using them, so that the color is clear, and so that we can see the color of them. You see now they're getting all lighter, and that's because I have added some color to them. All right, and let's clear this away from here. I'm not gonna be needing this. Okay, now yeah, let's begin doing the clouds. So for clouds, I'm gonna try to use the blue color. I'm sure that all of you have this blue color. Then some usual red color, so nothing special, and more of bluish greenish color. And yeah, so let's start painting that. When you have dry places in your artwork, that's actually great, I feel like, because this can help you create this nice beautiful texture of the sky. So like when there's a clear place that you're having, then it is actually great. You know, it's actually good because it's pretty rare to make that on watercolor paper. So that's good for you. And you see that I'm creating a sky like this. I'm gonna add more red color to this as it comes to the horizon. And yeah, so you see, I'm not actually adding lots of colors because watercolors, they are about simplicity more, I feel like it. And yeah, so don't try to add lots of colors. Let's go back to blue, adding more blue and more water. And then yeah, continuing our sky. So you see, that's how we did that. And there is our sky ready to go. So if it's if you think it's too violet, I don't think so. I feel like it looks nice. Actually, you are creating you're creating an artwork this time. It's not just a study. So make sure to use the colors which are accurate, and don't try to mix more than 4 colors, because that color is otherwise gonna look really dirty. Not cleaning my brush, I'm going to yellow. Make sure that your yellow is clean. It has to be a clean color, so you can't have it, you know, like dirty. And then I'm adding the olive color, which is basically my green, going back to blue. And I'm adding the mountains, which are on the very back, you know. They are far away from us, but we still can see them. So there is something that you start with first. So you see I've added them. And then I'm going back to more green, you know, olive, bright green. And I'm adding more color on the front. Okay, and more yellow, more blue. More water, actually. I don't feel like there is enough water for now. And yeah, so that's how I am doing it. And after you have created your far mountains, we can go to something darker. So there's the grass color, which is called really grass color in the White Knight set, and there is a uh, so there is an ochre, you know, the dark ochre that I'm using. Basically, it's brown color. So if you have brown in your set, then you're fine. You don't have to worry. And let's add that to the parts which are closer to us. And this is gonna be the place where we actually start doing our trees. And if you see it mixing up, it is amazing. So you're on the right track. Then more dark green. Let's add dark green, and you can add this color to your artwork. Okay, and then you can see that this all on this part is in the dark, right? So it's in the shadow. If you see it in the shadow, just add ultramarine or just blue. I think it's this color. Yeah. And just move it into a bit darker color, you know. Remember that in the watercolors uh, you can't use colors over some other colors. So for this, you have to be extra careful when you make something light or dark. I'm using orange, and I had the green color on it before, and then I'm adding this very color to my artwork to do the lights. So there's the bright part. And yeah, here it is. Remember, in the watercolor, the smaller your layer is, the better it is for you. That's the paradox of watercolors, because in oils or in acrylics, we usually use lots of, lots of layers and stuff to create something. But in watercolors, that's not the case. The less, the better. Okay, and remember about your house, so you can't paint over it. Watercolor is where you have to be extra careful with stuff because you don't want to spoil it. Okay, so that's the part that we painted. I'm gonna leave it for now, and let's move to the other part of our artwork in here, where we have some dark places and light places. So for this tree, remember that there's some light over dark parts. So I'm gonna try to do my best to not paint over it, but that's gonna be pretty difficult. So let's use green, the olive green, add more yellowish green, and that is going and more yellow. So, and that's going to be the color of our light, of our light parts. So they start in here, and I feel like we need more of the light colors. So here we go. Yeah, so this is the part of our artwork which is completely lightened by the sun. And by the way, keep in mind that in here, leaves are darker. So what we are doing is just we're not worried about this, and we are just covering it. But on the other part of our artwork, what happens is that trees which are on the first, which we see first, they are light. So we have to do light over the darkness, and that is I think, the most difficult thing. So what we can do, we can take a napkin, we can clean our brush, and we can try to move it over, and it will leave us some, well, it didn't, but the idea was that it might leave us some light space. But don't worry about this. Just now, let's fill it with our light color. So, and here, that's what we're doing in this part. Yes, in this part, that's pretty more green. Let's do that here. Same thing in here. So in here it's going to be pretty dark. So let's just, what we will do is just we will cover the light parts. More yellow, more green, and more color on the side. So as you have seen just now, we are covering the lightest parts of our artwork. And we have to work quite quickly here because the paint is drying off. Then we're gonna use the Naples color that I have. So this is Naples yellow. And I'm gonna just add a little bit of green to this. And then I'm gonna make our way in here with this color, because that's the color that I feel we need to use for our path. And you see that it mixes really nicely, and I really like the way that it mixes. And yeah, so now what we will do is we will use our green color that we had, and we will add more blue to, let's add more more blue to this. This is dark blue. So I'm adding more dark blue. Then I'm adding more of the olive color in here. And yeah, so what I will be doing now is pretty pretty dangerous because this color can, so you see that this is a pretty dark color, and this dark color will now start mixing with our light colors, and that's the way kind of we're gonna be doing it. One thing that you could be using is the Misket. Misket is the like it's a liquid which doesn't let the color touch paper. And you could, so you can use it. I'm not against it. That's your choice. If you want, that's not a problem. But I'm not using it because of just what I think. So I think that Misket is fine, but when you can do it already without it. So this is like a tool, but I don't feel like this is like a replacement for for it. So I feel like you can start using Misket after you have studied doing this. And then there is a shadow coming from the mountains, and I'm gonna add more blue color to this because that's in the, it's far away from us. So I've added some of that color, and yeah, so what I've done is I'm doing some more shadows in here. Again, I'm not touching the houses now. And there is some shadow in here also that I see. That's kind of it. Let's add more green and add shadows on this part, because there are trees obviously, and trees have their shadows. And the road itself, it also has some shadows. So let's add more dark green, more blue. Always change the color, always experiment with the color, because ultimately that's what we are willing to do. We're here to do experiments, and you learn when you do experiments, so that's pretty important for all of us. Some shadow from here, and yeah, so I feel like this is something that we needed to do and something that we have done for now. Let's continue the shadow over here. Okay, so for now, what I would do is I would kind of like let it dry off a little bit, because we have done lots of shadowing for now, and we need to see it dry off. So, guys, just stop working on it for now and let your paper dry off. So, yeah, I feel like now that's the right place where we should be, and then we will continue working on our trees. So let's just give it a pause, let it dry, put down your brushes, and then after it dries off, the paper isn't going to be wavy; it's going to be straight, and we will be able to continue our painting. Welcome back. So as I've told you, I've let it dry off a little bit, and now we can continue our painting. I have also noticed that you can use a white permanent marker if you if you want to have like a completely white color on your painting. So I've tried it in here, and yes, that is possible. So we can actually use the white marker, and I will show you how we can do it. So it's going to be amazing, and I will show you in details now. So now let's use a smaller brush. I'm using number 12. This happens when you don't clean your brushes, so make sure you clean it all the time, not like I do. So we will begin with adding by starting with houses, then we will continue with our landscape and with our trees. So yeah, let's begin with our houses. This one is white, but white color is actually not white because it reflects other colors in our artwork. So we're gonna use the green that we used, and we're gonna use this nice blue color. So we're gonna mix it together and add lots of water to this, and now you can kind of like start adding some color. Also, so as you can see, I'm adding it under the roof. Then I will add more of the dark gray color. This is not the black color, this is a really dark gray. So that's what I'm doing in here. And it's actually not advised to use black color in painting, but yeah, we can actually do that. So if you have black, no worries, you can just start by adding some black color to that place. And yeah, let's go back to our blue, and you can use the blue color to, and maybe, yeah, so I think it's blue, so let's do the blue and leave some white color in here so that the black color doesn't penetrate on the light part. So yeah, that's how we do our house. Then the second one is basically not a house, that's a roof standing on four four legs. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix the same green color. Then we're gonna add more gray to this color and some dark blue. So yeah, that's how it works. And let's begin with this. So here we go. And you can see that this color is pretty much the same on all parts. Okay. So yeah, we have done that part too. As you can see now, it's pretty much easy to do this because we already have the necessary bases. The roof of our houses is red, so we're gonna use this red mixed with the blue that I had on the palette. So just if you want, that's the brick color that we're making. And let's start with the back house. Okay, and add more yellow, just a little bit. It's actually like half of a gram or something of a paint. It doesn't actually matter on the bigger scale, but still we have to do that so that we show that we can do it. Okay, and then same color but add more bright red, and here is how we are making the roof for our house on the front. All right. If it goes on the house, don't worry about this. It can be a reflection, so this is completely fine. There is no problem in that. Okay, so we have done our houses which are in the shadow, and I feel like it looks nice. It looks okay. Then you can also add more shadow coming from the houses if you want and if you wish, no problem. And then let's start with our trees. So we're gonna start with a tree which is located on this part. But before we start it, we need to make sure that we have no white parts without any color. So let's use our olive green. If you don't have olive green, you can use a simple green plus a bit of orange and yellow. So that's going to be the olive color. And I'm going to make sure that I have everything covered in this part. Okay. And yeah, so this needs to dry off before we start actually painting our tree. But we can start with painting trees in here. So let's use the green with yellow, and we can start with adding more blue to this because that's in the shadow. So when something is in the shadow, all you need to do is you need to add blue. And we are working on our trees which are on the background for now, so just don't do a lot because that's not the focus for our viewers. Add more blue. This is the Prussian blue that I'm using, And I feel like this is pretty nice color, especially for shadows. So yeah, that's how I've done this. Okay. And then let's do the trees which are on the foreground. So for trees in the foreground, you have to use yellow plus olive green. That's for our light. So let's begin. That's the light part of our trees. And here. You can also differentiate the color and add different greens to this, because I'm sure that in your set there are some greens, not just one. There's a dark and there's a light green, so you already have two. Then we can add more in here. And I already start liking it because I feel like this is a good landscape. So, and then we're gonna add more blue to this and make it darker in some parts. So as you can see, we are starting to create this volume of trees, and the viewer can actually understand that that's not just something, but that's a volume of trees. And in here you can just add some dark trees, so you don't have to draw everything in here, because that's going to be hidden behind the tree which is on the foreground. And I have just added more blue to this color in order to show the darkness in here. If your paint, if your brush is getting dry, that's okay. So you can go ahead and add more water to this, or you can just continue using it, because it will create a really nice texture. Also, you see that the texture that is being created in here is actually nice. It looks nice. I kind of like it. So that's the right part that we have done. We have one more tree here and here. While this is drying off, we're gonna do trees on this side. Let's do the same. We're gonna use our light green, but the trees on the left, they're gonna have more of the ochre color. So let's add more ochre, and here we go. That's our tree. So that's the light part, right? So that's the lightened part of our trees. We're gonna dry it off a little bit, and so because I want this nice texture, that's why I'm drying it off a little bit. And yeah, just let it go, let it just experiment, and don't worry if you have some paint in the wrong place or something. That's the nature of it. That's the nature of watercolor. Then add more green color. So I need more water. Add more green color, and this is not the light and not the shadows. That's the medium part, so to say. And then we're adding more blue. So I'm adding the dark blue color here. I feel like it's this color, because the colors are dark and it's actually really hard for you to see which color that is. No, that's not this color. So that was actually brown. So I'm gonna mix it again. I'm gonna use green, and I'm gonna use the dark blue. Yeah, so now it's this color, you see, and then add more ochre. Yeah, so this is actually really difficult to see when you're painting, and your colors are not wet, so they become pretty dark, and that's pretty hard for you to see what is going on. Okay, and add more dark places in this tree, more shadows here. And yeah, so that's how it works. Then what we're gonna do, so let's underline our road a little bit. You can do that also. And now, as this one is dry, we're gonna continue to making our next tree. For this one, I'm gonna use a bit of brown. This is the brown color that I need. And a bit of gray. The reason why I'm doing it, and the reason why I'm so brave doing this, is because I have a white marker, and I can actually, I can actually add the lights a bit later. So yeah, let's begin. That's gonna be our tree standing over here. All right. Then this one is actually you need to be extremely careful when doing this, and I would actually go ahead and do this with a smaller brush, because I don't feel like I can do it with a bigger brush. That's pretty difficult. And yeah, so that's how I'm doing it. All right. And if you sometimes have gaps, this is absolutely normal. So if you have gaps, that's okay. Because the viewer can't see everything, right? It's impossible to kind of see everything. So yeah, and that's how we do our tree. So that's the basis, right? So we have done the basis, and then we're going to continue to the leaves after it dries off. So after you see that it's dried, then you can continue. But for now, no. Then use more brown for a tree that's on the foreground. So we're gonna also do it right now. So you see that I'm doing it with a smaller brush, because my hand might shake in the wrong moment, and I might actually lose the touch of my tree, and I might make it worse. So what I'm doing, yeah, I've decided to use a smaller brush in this place. And yeah, so everything that we started back then, we're using right now. So that proves how important the pencil drawing is for water painting. So for watercolors, I'm sorry. So if you don't do the pencil drawing before, it might go wrong later for your watercolor. So that's pretty important. And yeah, so that's how I'm doing it in here. All right, so I've added some more color. It's pretty dark, as you can see. I'm gonna add more dark color for now. Okay, and add it over here. And a bit more. This one is very intense color, and I can use this intense color because that's on the foreground, that's not the background. So of course you can go ahead and use dark colors. That's completely appropriate at this stage, and that's because you are on the foreground. If you were in the background, then it's not the right thing to do. And then moving on to the background, let's add more water to this color, and you can go ahead and start adding trees in here. So there's going to be one here, then one more here. So you see that everything, not everything goes to according to my pencil drawing, and that's completely okay. If you do that, that's not a problem at all. That's just your creativity. Okay, so there we have those trees, this tree. Let's add more dark color in here, adding it. And yeah, so for now, we have to leave those and let them dry off. And for this tree, we can already start working on this. For now, as you can see, so I'm gonna just stand up for a second. As you can see, we have this nice perspective in our painting, where here we have more details and there we just don't have any details at all. And that's pretty good. That's the good thing to have. Then after we finish, we're gonna do the white marker, and I also have a black marker, and I'm gonna show you where I'm gonna be using that. So for now, oh, also one more thing is we are gonna use this small brush to do these trees, you know, because I haven't done them yet. So that's the important part also. And yeah, so let's just add some more lines in here. And here it has to be detailed because that's on the foreground, right? And you have to make sure that this one is detailed. Again, because it's pretty close to the viewer and you want to make this illusion that whatever is closer is more detailed, because that's the important part. All right. Yeah. Okay, so after we've done that, let's go ahead and do our fence. We're going to be using this brown color for our fence. And yeah, let's begin. We're also going to use the same brush as we used for our trees. Okay, so done, and you can add the line in here. It can be with gaps. If it is with gaps, then there is like no problem at all. You can do that with gaps too. This one I'm adding a straight line. Okay, and then the fence. Okay, and you can see it works. So we are creating this nice perspective, and you can see that here everything is detailed, and I pretty like that. It's amazing how, like, what things perspective can actually do, right? All right, so after we're done with this part, we're gonna add a fence in here. So yep, let's do that. All right, add it. I don't feel like there are some more fences, but I can add something in here. The touch lines. Okay. All right. I feel like that's enough. So don't play too much with it. And yeah, so this is the end of our fence part. Now let's go back to the tree. Going back to the tree, I'm gonna use this brush for now. And yeah, I'm gonna start with green. Oops, there was some color on it already. So I'm gonna start with green and mix that. So I think, yeah, it was the green color before. But the thing is that tree is, well, it has a lot of yellow, right? So I'm gonna add a lot of yellow to this. And I'm gonna start putting this yellow on the tree. I'm gonna dry it a little bit. So basically you are dressing this tree up, right? So added lots of yellow. So as you can see, it's getting better, but it will be even better when we add the white color from our marker. So, and then add more blue color to this green. So yeah, add more green and then more blue. Yep, and now we can create the shadows, the shadowy parts on this tree. All right, so I feel like it looks fine, and then we can start with shadows in this tree, and then continue back to the lights. It doesn't actually matter in this context of events, so to say. Okay. Add more water, more green, and more blue. And then, yeah, we can continue working with our shadows. There are some colors here. Okay. Then add more blue. Because I feel like, yeah, I think this color will be better. And then there has to be a shadow coming back from this tree, you know, because like for now there is no shadow. And let's just add some more lines in here. Okay, good. And then more yellow, more water, and let's just add this color in some parts, not everywhere, but in some parts. All right, cool. So yeah, that's the way it is. I kind of like it already. Okay, let's also add this same color back here in the mountains. I don't feel like it's enough, but more blue, so add more blue to this. And then yeah, we can do this color. More also blue. Because the mountains, they also have shadows, right? So we want to make sure that we have those shadows. Not everywhere, of course, but in the mountains, yeah, that's pretty necessary. Having shadows will allow the viewer actually appreciate the light, right? So if there are shadows, we start appreciating the light, right? So if there's something bad happening in our lives, we start appreciating something good that we had before, right? Same in a painting. So in painting, if you have shadows, it helps your viewer start appreciating the light even more. So that's the part that you want to work on. Then I want to continue back and work on the colors a little bit here. I will work with the Naples yellow right now. So there's Naples yellow. I will add more ochre to this and blue, of course. So and I will work on the shadowy parts in here. So that's the shadow parts that we have on our road. Like I don't feel like this is enough for now. And make sure that your brush is dry at this point, that you're working with this. And this road actually continues here. Because you don't want to leave a lot of water on your painting for now. All right, and adding, so yeah, I feel like this is going to be enough for now. Just the final touch with our road is I'm gonna add more blue to this part. Again, this has to be dry. Yeah, so I've added some blue in here so that I show that there is grass, right? There's some texture in here. All right. So yeah, I feel like this is for now absolutely enough. So, okay. It's, you know, like I say, I feel like it's enough, and then I continue doing something. And of course, there is no place for perfection at all. So just let's leave it for now. Let's dry off, and then I will show you what else we can do with this artwork to add more details and to add more interesting things to it. So yeah, let's leave it for now for a second. I have let it dry off a little bit, and now we're going to continue with our artwork. So make sure that this is dried off. I just have one wet place in here, but I'm gonna work on the rest of it right now. So what we're gonna use is, I'm gonna use a liner. This is the width of okay, it's not actually indicated, but this is not a really big one and not a really small one. That's a permanent liner. And then I'm gonna use also a permanent marker in here, and this is white. So I'm gonna use the white color also. And where I'm gonna be using it. So yeah, let's begin. I'm just gonna add some details in the house first. So this is the furthest house. We're gonna add some lines in here to kind of show the the dark places, the shadows, and yeah, so the texture also, the texture of the roof. So just to name a few things that you could be doing in here. Okay, so I've used it for the texture. Then I'm also gonna add some grass in here, maybe. Well, that doesn't actually work, so I'm gonna just leave it as it is. And then in this house, I'm also gonna kind of like underline the texture of the roof, then add some lines on the roof, then add the window, add the door, and kind of show that there is a door, and even two doors, and then I'm gonna use the same color to add a window in here, show the texture, and show the line in here, and then add some more lines on this part. Okay, so that's what I have done for my second house. Then add lines for the fence also. So that's I feel like that looks actually nice, and I feel like that's what it should be like. Then I'm gonna use the yellow, the white to add some, some kind of white parts on this roof. Then I'm gonna add some light on this roof also, as you can see. Looks fine, looks nice. Okay, the reason why I'm cleaning it is because the color might actually be left on your marker, so that's the important part. And then I'm also going to go back to my artwork so that I can see it, and I'm going to add some leaves, here as the structure. So you can see now that what we're doing is kind of like mixed media, right? And we are adding some leaves in here, for example, but we don't do that with watercolors, we do it with a marker. And you can add some leaves here also, here, even here if you want. Just make sure that all of your lines, as we did the graphics already, all of your lines have to be like turned into one side. And then you can also create the line in here for the tree itself, so that you kind of like show the form. And then also you can even do the shadow with the dark marker if you want. So you can do it like this. Okay, so I feel like that's the right thing, and I feel like this is what we should have done. So now add some light on these trees, some lines in here, more lines. And that's completely okay to do so, actually. we have never actually done a mixed media, so I'm super happy, guys, that we're doing it right now. So I'm also really happy for this. Okay, and this. All right, so that's what we've done, and now for this fence, I'm gonna use this white one to show the light. Well, not in all of them, of course, and then I'm gonna also use the dark one to kind of show that there is also a dark part in here. All right, then you want to also consider just prolonging it for a little. All right, and then for here, let's try to add some grass maybe. So, I mean, you could do that, and I'm just kind of like experimenting. You don't have to do it, but you could, and under such an angle like this. So it's not under the right angle. The reason why I'm doing it at this angle is because you can see that there are some gaps which are left, and you can add some grass in here too, and then add some more lines so that it looks actually more realistic, right? I'm sure that it does. All right, then add lines here, 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 and maybe here. All right, that's interesting. Now that's getting even more interesting. So you can see that I would like to add some more here too. Some shadows. And some more lines as shadows. Okay, and let's use the white color now to add more colors to our tree, to add the lightest parts. So here they are. And now let's do one thing. One thing that we haven't actually done is adding the cables over the ground, because I love adding cables, and I feel like that's the amazing part to do. So they are going to be over the house. So there's going to be one thing like this, right? So here we have added it, and the cables are going to go over to here, right? So what we'll do is we'll connect this one with this, and one more line over here, and then let's move them over to the front part. Maybe there's like one part where they continue, and then you could also add one more in here, and it might be just falling, for example, and there's something supporting it from falling, and you can continue this back kind of like to that place. Okay, so now this is something that I start liking. You can also add lines in here to show the direction of the road, for example, and some more lines in here to show that there is just grass in here. Okay, yeah, that's how we do it. I feel like now this whole painting has gotten really interesting. That's just what I feel. let me know if this is something that you feel too, because I feel like the graphing materials, like for example liners or something, they make any artwork like more interesting, because once you have a liner, you have a full control over what you're doing on paper, right? So, and I feel like this is the perfect thing to do, like, so to add, for example, some lines, or to do, because this helps you improve your artwork just dramatically, you know. And some more in here. Okay, so I will leave it as it is right now, and now let's take off our paper and see what we're getting. I'm gonna just make sure that okay, I'm recording this, because like guys, sometimes I'm like, am I recording this? Is it being recorded or not? So, okay, and I'm gonna take this off. So that's why, you see, now this paper it's not wavy. Oh, guys, okay. Well, I'm gonna take it off really carefully. And it's not wavy only because I used this paper, right? Paper tape. So I'm taking this one off as well. And the last one. Okay, and this is our artwork, so this can go into a frame and it will look fine. I'm just gonna sign it now, and yeah, here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna sign it later because I need it for another video, but guys, thank you very much for watching, and this is something that, so I want to see it in the mirror, so this is something that we have created today. Let me know in the comments what you think about it, and also you can share with your friends that I'm taking this interesting course or something. So if you want to share with your friends, yes, that's amazing. I would really love it. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.